Welcome to the History of Morris Dance at Brasstown talk. This is a very serious lecture tonight on something that's incredibly serious to so many of us. No joke, we're just going to touch on some of the times that Morris has been important in the folk school history. It's a long, wonderful, colorful story. I'm sure I'm going to leave a few things out. But I do have a pretty fun slideshow for you, some pictures that go way back and some that are very, very recent. So I am Nanette Davidson, and I am delighted to be the spokesperson for Brasstown Morris tonight. Actually, I just volunteered to do it because this story is so important to me. I have been doing Morris dance here in Brasstown for decades, and I want to share some of this with those of you that don't know anything about Morris dancing, and I also want to educate our youth who are new to our Brasstown Morris teams and let them learn some fun things. So, we are going to find a seat, sir. We're just going to jump right in. So, the first thing I want to do is explain to you what Morris dancing is and where it comes from. And there are about 4 or 5 different styles of Morris dancing that are done in England. And I want to show you a couple of photos of the different styles from the actual English Morris teams. This is the world-famous Hammersmith Morris men from West London. In the UK, we danced with them at Warwick. Let's see if I can make this work. When we were in England this past summer. This is Cotswold Morris that's done with hankies, and it was obviously came from the Cotswold region of England. But Morris dancing has been going on in England for hundreds of years, and Cotswold is probably the earliest style. Hankies and bells and lots of attitude. It should be an entertaining sport. It's very athletic. And one of the great things about it, and one of the reasons why it works so well at the folk school, is that it's a team sport, but it's not competitive. So we learn together and hang out together and work on cool stuff together. This is the Sallyport sword dancers from Newbiggin. We saw these gents dance at Sidmouth this past summer. This is the style of wrapper sword that we're going to be looking at a lot more of a little bit later on, but this was done by miners, and they used the wrapper that they would wipe the sweat and the hair from ponies. So this is a working class in England, working class kind of dance, the Morris, and people use their tools in their work to dance with. This is one of the newer styles of dance. This is Border Morris, and it comes from the border of England and Wales. It was traditionally done around Christmas time by folks who would just go out, and mostly men, they'd go out into the community, dance a dance, and then beg for a pint. And then they'd go on to the next pub and do the same thing. So they blackened their faces so that people would not recognize who they were, and they would give them money every time they danced in every different place. But over the years, black faces kind of become other colors. And this is Boggart's Breakfast right here, and they do some pretty outrageous face paint. This is another Border Morris group, Shenfield Shambles. They came and visited us here in the late 1990s, I think, and their rag coats were really incredible. Of course, they make their own kits. This was a mixed side. It was a women's side. They did a little bit of border and a little bit of other styles. This is a Northwest Morris style. This is Old Speckled Hen from Milton Heights in England. And they dance in wooden clogs, and they use bobbins and from the weaving industry, because this is a style of dance that was born during the Industrial Revolution, when country folks were going to the cities in England to work in factories, but they were taking their country traditions with them, including dance. And so they used these tools that they had to perform, and they did a lot of street performances and parade type dancing. This is Northwest Morris, so look at their wooden clogs that they're wearing. Oh, whoops, that was the wrong one, sorry. Move this. This is a men's Northwest team called Saddleworth Morris, and they're pretty showy and amazing. Their leader and dance caller has a whip, and he uses that to keep his boys in line. But if you've never seen a bunch of big old burly men do dance in wooden clogs, rant in wooden clogs, it's pretty breathtaking. We've seen them a couple times when we traveled over to England. So this is still the Northwest style. And then this is the band from Kennywood Morris, which is another Northwest style. Lots of wonderful drumming and dancing there. That's it? Just a taste. So the wooden clogs were used for more than just Northwest Morris. They were the original sort of tap dance routines that happened. So there was some competition in the clog stepping. People would, men and women, would learn these fancy routines in their wooden shoes, sometimes copying the sounds that the weaving equipment made. And they would do performances around vaudeville time, and it kind of became a clog tradition that morphed into tap dancing and also Appalachian clogging. So these wooden shoes they were responsible for starting that whole type of dance. I don't have a clip of these women dancing, I'm sorry. And I'm not sure who they are either, but they're cute, aren't they? They have purple skirts. Here's a children's longsword team. Brasstown had a longsword team, a kids team, for a little short piece of history, and we'll show you that later on. This is on the streets in England. Not sure who these kids are either. So, our founder, Olive Dame Campbell, loved music, and she loved singing, and when she and John Campbell went out on their first Russell Sage Foundation tour of Appalachia way before the folk school was started, Olive was paying attention to all of the singing that was going on in the mountains, and she heard ballad singing that she recognized from being from the British Isles, and some of it was extinct over there. And so she thought it was super important. So she contacted, when she got back to Asheville, she contacted Cecil Sharp, who was an English ballad collector who happened to be in Asheville somehow. They got together. And Cecil Sharp is famous for collecting English ballads, but he's also famous for collecting Morris dances and notating, writing down notations so anybody could learn how to be a Morris dancer. And so Olive knew this about Cecil. She also knew that later on, Cecil Sharp died in 1924. So he was gone before our folk school was founded in 1925. But Olive wanted to include community dance as part of the folk school experience here in Brasstown. And she was worried about Appalachian square dancing and mountain dancing because she knew that it sometimes came with a bottle of whiskey and a fist fight. And she did not want that going on in here in this little community room. Also, she was trying very hard to be appropriate with the ministry of the area, and preachers didn't like that kind of dancing. So she wanted to introduce a different kind of dancing, and English country dance seemed to be the right sort of thing. Stately, beautiful music, controlled. We still do it. In fact, we have a dance this Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock if you want to come try it out. It's so much fun. We have an incredible dance band. But so she knew about Morris, which is kind of the rowdy side of English country dance, and it was often done by We already talked about miners and weavers, but also the servants of a giant household, and they would have fun mimicking royalty, and Molly dance is a whole tradition that comes out of that. But anyway, Morris dancing was more challenging than English country. It was something you had to work on with a group of people. And so that became important and interesting to her. So she thought it was fine to have some Morris dancing in Brasstown. So here's Cecil Sharp with, let me tell you exactly who this is. This is the Winster Morris Dancers from Derbyshire, and this is 1908. And here are the Bidford Morris Dancers from Redditch, Worcestershire, June 2nd, 1906. And some of these communities, small towns in England, have kept teams. A Morris group is called a side, S-I-D-E. They've kept sides alive for many, many years. Here is a photo from our archives of Marguerite Bidstrup dancing. I can't tell if this is rapper or longsword. What do you think, Susanna? Longsword. So longsword is a wooden sword, whereas rapper is a flat metal sword with handles on each end. Not really a sword, but we call it that. So, huh? Okay, I was gonna, playing the accordion. Phil Merrill on the accordion. He was a musician from New York City that came to Brasstown during the summertime for many, many, many years. I knew him when he was quite a bit older, and he played the piano mostly then. So one of our folk school directors right here is John Ramsey. And he's important to the dance story because he loved dance, and he really was big on building the community dances. He was the director from 1967 to 1973, and he brought back Morris to Brasstown. And here he is with Lauren Kramer, and they're learning a Cotswold dance, I think. This is Cotswold. Okay, so, and I believe I see Thomas Kalishek in that picture. And Lauren and John in the front, and Thomas in the middle of the row. And who's that behind Thomas, do we know? Okay. One of the cool things about Morris dance is how it can embrace an entire family. So you can bring your kids to Morris dance. You know, your husband and wives can do it together. We have a lot of amazing families that have participated quite completely in Morris dance in Brasstown, and the Kalisheks are one of those families. And the Andersons early on. This is Rapper, and that is Robert Anderson there in the middle. Is that Michael in the back? Michael Kalishek in the back. This was, so John was gone by 1973, and I'm thinking that Morris just kind of went back to sleep after that for a while, yeah. So here's some of those John Ramsey guys dancing. I think this is Hayesville. Does this look like Hayesville to y'all? Mm-hmm. And I don't know much about these. This photo is dated 1969. But this is, so what the Morris is a display dance. It's a seasonal display dance. You usually do it outside, not on a stage or in a contained area, but on the streets, in the grass, in the parks. Cotswold here with hankies. And then this is Robert Anderson Jr. and Larry Smith, who grew up down on Tobe-Stalkup Road, or maybe not Tobe, but what is the name? Waldrop Road, okay. And he was an incredible dancer, just grew up here and just took a shine to it, and eventually moved away, followed a girl dancer that he met here to wherever she lived, which was like New York or Seattle or something. Oregon. Now, this is, playing the accordion here, this is Laura Sprung. And she's important because she started Rural Felicity Garland Dancers, which we're going to talk about quite a bit here. But here's Laura playing the accordion for a group of kids at Little Middle. Well, it wasn't Little Middle, it wasn't middle until when, Jan? I don't know. It started off as Little Folk School, so it's 7 to 12-year-olds. But this is a bunch of kids that she got doing beam setting, which is a Cotswold Morris dance. So there was a kids longsword group here in Brasstown for a little while, and this handsome lad here looking at the Fool, I believe that's Nick Kalishek. And the Fool is Lynn Galt. I don't know how many of you came to Bethany's Lynn Galt talk, but Lynn was a thespian as well as a potter. And this was a mummers play that was happening as part of a madrigal dinner. And the folk school would kind of host these, alternate with Young Harris College. So we would have them one year and Young Harris would have them another year. That tradition has died out. It would be kind of fun to do that again. But Nick, I think you're probably about 12 or something. So what year would that be? I don't want you to reveal your age. Okay. So there are the Lambour sword kids in the back there, and the mummers play is part of the Morris tradition, but we don't have time to explain that tonight. We got to keep going. Maybe someday we'll do a mummers play for you. This is the first photograph of Rural Felicity Garland dancers, which Laura Sprung, who was the accordion player I showed you, she started this group in 1982. There was kind of a renaissance or a revival of Morris dancing around that time in England and in the US. And what's fun is that there's several people in this photograph that are in this room tonight. Martha Dysart is back there in the back. Rosemary Kalishek is on the road. Kathy Henson is somewhere in here. Oh, there you are. I think that's me right there. Marcia Buck, some of y'all might know Marcia. Carla Owen, who passed away in 2021. Judy Grove. Kathy Wright, who was important to the team and took it over when Laura moved to Boston. And then who do you think this cute little sprite is? That's Annie Faye, Lyden Marilyn. And she's cute. So we gathered for the opening of the Bidstrup House, which was a big deal because it was actually first solar dorm the folk school ever had. And here we are performing an open house. And then here's another fairly early picture when we got some new kits. We made quilted kind of pinovers, and we had a new drum. And that's Chris Spicer there with the fiddle. I wanted to say that the costumes that Morris dancers wear are called kits, K-I-T. So you have to get your kit on. You have to get your kit ready. Here we are marching down the road. I tried to get us a license for this for May Day this year, but no, we can't walk down the road anymore. Too bad. Here's Annie Faye a few more years down the line. Again, such an important family to the whole folk school community, but especially to the music and dance program is the Lyden Owen family. And Annie Faye grew up dancing here. She was the music and dance coordinator here later on for a while, and now she is in the programming department, but she's banging that drum. And look at these little cuties. They were begging at the Renaissance Fair. Two more Lydens. This is Emmeline, who now plays the fiddle, and Lindsay Lyden, who's a famous banjo builder in our community. This is, I believe y'all were at Bryson City for a performance when the railroad became Kathy. The Nanette Outdoor Center. So in that area for that train. And here again is Rosemary Kalishek and her husband George up there. And there's Miss Martha Owen, looking cute. And then this is Annie Faye again, and Kathy Dudek, who is with us today. And lent us some of these photographs. This guy that looks like Tsar Nicholas is Steve Hickman, who is one of the finest fiddlers ever. And I wanted to say something about George Kalishek and how much he did for the Morris teams. One of the things he did was he self-published at least 5 different books of dance tunes for us so that we had all the music in one place for all the different dances we've done over the years. So Rural Felicity was 1982. There's Annie Fain again.
Sarah Blackman.
Pardon me? Oh, Sarah okay, thanks. And then here is, here's a photo that was in about 1994 or 5 maybe. This is Kathy Wright in the front. Over the years, Rural Felicity's had a lot of different leaders. Laura Sprung was the founder. She left in 1985. Laura Sims led the team for a while. Kathy Wright led the team after that until 1996. Martha and I stepped in 1996 to lead. So after that, Julie Schreiber and then Robbie Rankin. So that team folded in about 2020, but it was like 38 years old when it folded. So that's the longest running Morris team that Brasstown has ever had.
And we still have the hoops it can pick up again.
Yeah, maybe. So this amazing gentleman hit the scene, and he moved here in 1991. He'd already been on the staff for music and dance events. This is Bob Dalsimer, and he was our music and dance coordinator for 20 years. And he really lit the fire under our community dance groups, and he was all about Morris. And as we developed as a Morris dance community, he was right there playing the accordion and leading the band. And this other guy who showed up in about 1992, Dr. Jan Davidson, who was a pretty cute fiddler back in those days, and he led the folk school from 1992 to 2017, which was 25 years. That's the longest anybody has ever been the director of the folk school, including all of Dame Campbell. And Jan understood how important music and dance is. Or I should say, Jan understands how important music and dance is. And he was right there with Bob and Martha and David to be this wonderful dance band for the Morris teams. And all 4 of these were professional musicians. So they knew how to provide incredible dance music and really gave us a solid ground. It's all about the band, but I'll talk more about the band later. Oh, they made a band outside of the Morris our Morris community called the Dog Ranch Cats, and that's because Bob and Hannah were living on Dog Ranch Road at the time. So, this is when I jumped into Garland and helped to lead the Garland dance. This was 1996, and we resurrected. Well, we didn't resurrect. We created a new tradition of maypole dancing and maypole parades. So this is one of our early May Day processionals. There's Rosemary, there's Sherry. I think she's here tonight. I know she is, yeah. So this was one of our early maypole dances, and at that time we had either five or six little girls dancing with Rural Felicity. They were daughters, and they were great until they were about 13, and then they had to go dance somewhere else. Most of them went to dance with sticks in the mud at that point. But Nancy Troxler and her daughter Anna Mitchell were on this team, and Brian was a stick. So the Mitchell family was another super important family to our group. Here we are doing the maypole with Rural Felicity, and here are those little girls I was talking about. Most of them are in their late 30s now. And here's the group back in those days. And Garland can be pretty athletic. This was there's a beautiful photo of Kathy Dudek, and then this is my daughter Chloe right here. So this was in England. We were dancing, where were we? This was Wimborne or Devon or somewhere like that. Our group has actually been to England six different times. And here we are on the festival barn stage. There's Kathy and Nancy and Chloe and Martha and Ann Taff, who was dancing with us. And here they are again. Rural Felicity had lots of different kits. They didn't wear just one kit, they had a bunch. So Celia Larson is here in this photo as well. This is Julie Schreiber, Carla, and then I've named the others I think already. Here we go, here's a little snippet. This was Nick and Misty's wedding. Nick Kalishek and Misty. That's it. This is at Christmas time. Oh, this is Patty's Day. This was a wonderful gathering at the depot in Murphy that Brian Mitchell made sure happened every year. For how many years, Brian? 40 years? 40? And we would all dress up in green and go down and pretend like we were Irish and do English Morris dance. I'm not sure that would really be endorsed in Ireland. So these two scary looking guys are pretty wonderful. This gent with the scowl is Fred Ward, and he's a British fellow that came over and was a host here at the folk school. And he started Sticks in the Mud, which is our Border Morris team with the rag coats. And he lived here for about 6 months, and long enough for us to kind of get going. He wanted it to be a men's side, but after a while, women kept showing up wanting to dance. So we made that happen. This other gentleman right here is somebody pretty extraordinary. This is Roy Dommett, who was the foremost British engineer and rocket scientist and the United Kingdom's chief missile scientist. He was a Morris enthusiast, so he had these two things. He was a rocket scientist and he was a Morris dancer. And he collected, we think that makes perfect sense. He collected Morris dances and notated them, so he has published, or at least self-published, collections of dance notation, which was really hard to get until recently, when all the Morris teams have got stuff on YouTube now, so you can learn how to dance on YouTube. But this was at the Jane Austen house. Robbie Rankin gave us this photo. There's Martha and David. So this was in one of the early trips, 1996. Here's Fred again, wrapped up in the American flag. This is when we went over in 2012, maybe, and we're in Richmond. Here is Julie Hearn and Gail Oliphant. They don't dance with us anymore, but we still love them. Oh yeah. So then when Fred left, Martha stepped up and took over Sticks and kept it going for this year, 30 years, Sticks in the Mud. So we became, here's a fairly recent photo of who is in Sticks in the Mud now. This was Fall Festival a couple years ago. This is the blue face when it's all out. This is Luke Conrad, who was the chef at the Crown for a few years, and he was one of our Morris dancers. Here we go, let's watch a little Sticks in the Mud. There's Dr. Mitchell. This is Fall Festival, of course, you were probably there. You already know Nick, the good Dr. Mitchell, who could dress up and do Morris with the best of us. Robert Forsyth, who is proprietor of the Crown. Robert Googler, Sunshine Mountain Farms. You should go down to Brasstown Farmers Market and get you some plants every Wednesday now. And then Martin Sachs, where'd he go? What should we say about you? Here's one thing I'll say. Martha and I we went to you and begged you to join the Sticks. And for a while you did not want to. I remember that very well. But once he became one of us, he was the best of us. But, like I said, we have some girls dancing. This is Hannah Larson Gotti of the fabulous Larson family and the fabulous Gotti family. Miss Bonnie Linneman, who can teach you how to make soap or an herbal liniment down at Olive's Porch if you need to know. Miss Janice Lesser, one of our newer dancers. And Luna. Where is Luna? Oh, okay. Well, she has picked up all the styles of dancing. She's now dancing with Dave's Rocket. Here's her sister Juliet, who's in the wings, ready to dance at a moment's notice. Here's Joe, who's married to Janice. Here's Julie Hearn, you might know her, Potter, and her husband, Harry. St. Patty's Day again. Moment, Bob Dulcimer put his accordion down and danced with us. But then he realized how much he was needed on the accordion, so he went back to playing music. But he was an incredible dancer and also an amazing clogger, Appalachian style. He moved to Black Mountain to a retirement community in 2019, and we miss him so much. So this is Garland and Sticks in the Mud, Rural Felicity and Sticks in the Mud. This is about 2005, somewhere around in there. And at this point, we became the Brasstown Morris dancers. So we knew that we were better as a unit. Then, in 2006, after one of our trips over to England, I started Dame's Rocket, which is the northwest side here. We dance in wooden clogs. And we're having our 20th birthday this year. So it's hard to believe, I know. So over the years, we probably had 50 women dance through this team. And that's the cool thing about Morris. You can do it for a while, then you can move on if you need to. Sometimes we have work studies or hosts that are here for a while, and we just pull them in. We opened the swimming pool, the Health and Wellness Center in Murphy, and Charlotte Crittenden was an important caller and helper to Dave's Rocket. And this is Ian Appleyard, who was a visiting Brit, who thought it would be fun to get in our photos, so he made us look good, didn't he? Here's a little bit of early Dave's Rocket. And Linda Ronstadt did it too. So we actually got a prize for doing that dance at a place, even though it wasn't supposed to be a competition. Here's the early, I'll tell you about that in a minute. Here's an early Dame's Rocket and one defector from our team who had to go back and keep her people in mind. And this is Linda Metcalf, a lady blacksmith who's an incredible artist who lived here for many years. Linda on the I don't know which side that is, with the shorter hair. She went back to school a few years ago and became cardio sonographer or something, and now she's working at Duke University Hospital. So we lost her, but she was fabulous. And then Virginia Maddox was a very important part of our team for many years. She was our treasurer. For the last year or two, she was the squire, but she has left us, so we miss her. And then this is Carla Owen, who danced with Rural Felicity from the very beginning, and then she danced with James Rocket, and she passed away in 2021. She was very important to the folk school, helped a lot with she ran the dining hall during a period of time. She was in the homesteading, gardening and preservationist person, and she helped in the cooking studio for 15 years or more. That's Donna Forsyth, our Kit Kat. She also had to leave. She got too busy running the Crown, but we miss her too. And she was the Arts Council board president for a while, and she kept having all these crazy parties. This is James Rocket and part of our band dressed up for speakeasy night at the Arts Council. And here we are for a St. Patty's Day that actually was in the Hackney building downtown instead of in the depot. Fall Festival. So in 2018, I stepped down as squire, partly because Annie Fain started dancing with us. And she was such an incredible dancer after all those years. And I felt like she needed to run the team. So she did, and she did an incredible job. And she wrote amazing dances for us that were choreographed. Mostly we used traditional material that was out in the public domain, but she wrote us some amazing dances. And this is one we love called Dame's Delight. It's done with tiddlers, which you swing around while you kick and jump. And Virginia followed Annie Fain. Annie Fain left a couple of years ago. Virginia took over as squire and did it for 2 years until she left us. And here's a Fall Festival photo a couple of years ago. We have some new wonderful dancers. All right, let's talk about a rapper sword a little bit more. This is Carl and Charlotte, who we love so much, couldn't do without. Carl Dreher, who taught rapper sword dancing here at Winter Dance Week we were thinking from 1993 to 2000 at least, but maybe longer than that. And then his wife Charlotte, who took over leading the Morris Band when Bob Dowsmer left. So the two of them have offered us so much. So here's Carl at Winter Dance Week with his class that are getting ready to do a performance. Rapper Sword again was from the mining communities of England. And here are some young whippersnappers learning how to do rapper. This is our oldest son, John Neil Davidson, and here's Forrest Elephant. Robert, that's not you, is it? Robert Forsyth? I think that's... No, it looks like you, but I think it's Nate from Canada. Dan Stone from Canada. You remember him?
Oh, yeah.
So here's Carl making sure that they've got the right hold on the swords. Here's a women's rapper team that was dancing for New Year's Eve at the folk school. They just did the workshop and then we had to perform. And I tell you, Carl put the fear of the Lord in you. You did not mess up when you were in Carl's classes. We had to jump over those swords and all kinds of things, but he scared us so bad we had to do it. And then it spawned all of these little rapper teams in Brasstown. And this is the fabulous Black Sox. Got Mr. Kalashuk here and Miss Owen here jumping over swords, see? And they did it in front of people and everything. So this is the Black Sox. This is the first development of Magic Rapper. And this is the current Magic Rapper group, which you're going to get to see tonight. So how fun is that? Brian Gotti of the Fabulous Gotti family, Monica Gotti Matthews of the Fabulous Gotti family, Hannah Larson Gotti, and Dakota Gotti. And then there's the lovely Susanna Pyatt, who is our archivist here at the folk school. So this wouldn't happen without the Gottis. Can you see how important these families are? In order for us to take all these elaborate trips that we like to go on, we have to fundraise. So we sell food at Fall Festival. Who's ever bought food from the Brasstown Morris dancers? Oh, some of y'all need to come to Fall Festival and buy food from us. We handmade veggie pies and meat pies for years and sold them. These are Bob Dowsmer's shortbread cookies, which all of these delicious recipes, this is a beef and ale pie. These are in the folk school cookbook if you need one. Apple brown Betty we made for 100 million years. One year we decided we were going to try bangers and mash because we were trying to sell British style food. So here's our offerings. We did a lentil shepherd's pie. We did a kale salad. Here we are at our bangers tasting. We wouldn't serve you food that we hadn't tried first. So we did a lovely spread of sausages for our annual meeting at Lake Chateau. There's Robbie and Annie Fain. This is our kale salad. Here's our very skilled kale salad makers. So one of our trips that we took that was the most memorable to me was in 2012, and we went to the Stratford-upon-Avon area of England to a little town called Kenilworth, and we danced with these red kitted dancers. Kinnyword is what they're called. They gave us a tour of a medieval moat before we went down to their little town center and danced for the Olympic torch relay. That was in 2012. Here he is, running that torch through, just looking for the next person to hand it off. But that was an amazing trip. We went on to Cleckheaton from there, which is in North Yorkshire, dancing in the streets there, parading with other Morris dancers. And then here we are at Cleckheaton, more parading. And then this was when Dames Rocket received the Wickham Cup, which was a free beer for everybody, because we did that Whitby Shindig to that American dance tune, and we were the people's choice for a little, I don't know, they were judging us. They shouldn't be judging us, but they were. And so, because the folk school doesn't do competition, I didn't tell our dancers that it was a competition we were in, so they didn't even know. So we won, they didn't know it was a competition. Yes. I was going to save questions to the last, but...
I knew. And I've always been a great advocate of non-competitiveness. But I thought if we were in there, we ought to
be the best. Because we are the best non-competitive folk school. So the Morris Band, again, is so important and so wonderful. We've got some new folks. We've got Stephen Byers here. Mike, I think this is you back there in the back. I've got a better picture of you. He's not new. Huh?
Yeah, I'm not new.
No, you're not new. You've been on some of those England trips too. So here's Bob and Jan today. Bob used to come back and play with us for Fall Festival. Here's the band on the stage at Fall Festival. Charlotte, our band leader. There's Mike again. You can recognize him because he's got a deer in his fancy hat. David and Martha and Jan. There's David. Carl with his red plastic trombone, which he bought to go to England in. It's pretty cool. There's Mike again. And these two young fellers who we really, really love. That's Nate and Sean Hardman, and they are brothers, and Nate plays incredible fiddle. If you were here at the dance last night, they were both playing, and Sean plays guitar, and he works at Downtown Pizza. So go get you some. Those guys are fabulous. Well, Charlotte stepped down a little while ago, and our new music and dance coordinator, Wendy Graham, stepped up. And there is no way that we could do this without her help right now.
Charlotte and I do it together.
Okay.
It's a team effort.
I can tell.
Yeah.
I can tell that y'all are still conferring. But Charlotte didn't go on our last trip to England, and Wendy did. And we had a small but mighty band. And here's Laurel and Stephen, and there's Andrea. They're all in the audience tonight. Oh yeah, this guy. You saw him when he was a little beggar at the Renaissance Festival. That's Lindsay Lyde, a fabulous banjo picker and builder. He went with us to play the snare drum in England. Here's the band at Fall Festival. I'm going to skip this, try to keep it going. Dames Rocket is always trying to figure out what kind of hats we need to wear. So we've tried on some British top hats. This is Monica Gotti. We didn't buy them though because they were too hard to put in your suitcase. We performed at some quirky things. One of them was Jan received an honorary doctorate, his second doctorate from the University of the South in Swanee in 2017, and they said, you'll be able to talk at the dinner. What would you like to do, or what would you like to say? And he said, I'd like to play music for my Morris team, and I'd like for them all to come. So we did. We went to this convocation, and Lindsay and Sienna there, and there's Jan and Carla. We've also we've performed for weddings, another gaudy event here. Monica and Russell's admiring the B-bomb, he's the groom. Here we are down at the community center getting ready to dance for Monica's wedding. And I'm going to skip this one too, we need to keep moving. This was David Val and Cheryl's wedding here in October. They had kind of a Renaissance themed wedding. This was Abel Allen's wedding. Guess when it was? This was outside at the Crown. And here's some Morris dancers in church in England because they allow that sort of thing. We have kind of developed a fondness for giant puppets, and they have become a wonderful part of our May Day parade, which we're about to have May the 2nd this year, so please come. This is David Baker, who we lost a couple of years ago. He was a kaleidoscope instructor here and a massage therapist. Amazing man that we all adore. This is our first green man for the May Day parade. That's the first iteration. And there's some of our wonderful Morris dancers. I will show you a little bit of the May pole dance. We've been doing this now for almost 30 years. The Garland team started it, and then over the years we've just pulled people in, a lot of children, a lot of young adults, and also just dance enthusiasts. It's open to the public. Here's one of the giant puppets that we made. After the May Day, here's we haven't had Jules or Henry in our Morris gang yet. I hope we get him someday. Here's tiny Natalie, who went to England with us last summer as a lovely 12-year-old. Hopefully she'll join us in a year or two. Here's the new iteration of the Green Man. This is after Paper Hand Puppetry Intervention helped me out a little bit. And you'll see this guy out this year. There was Bethany in that photo too. There she is right there. She was in our last couple of Maypole dances. I'll just show you a tiny bit of the parade. I think we've seen that. Here's a fireside sale, more paraders. We're winding down now, I think. This was one time we went to Marlborough in Vermont to dance with a group there. And it's an ale. It's a big event that happens every Memorial Day weekend. And this is Tony Barron here out in the middle. He was a mover and shaker of the Morris world. He was British, but he came to the U.S. not really knowing anything about Morris dancing. And he has written several books about it. He came to Brasstown many times. There he is riding a bike through a Morris set. I believe we've had a bicyclist ride through one of our Morris sets before. And then off the back of the stage, too, just to make it really... Here's Bob. You've seen Rockets. Here's a ribbon dance that James Rocket does. Oh, Christmas. So the folk school gets greened up, and the volunteers that come out have been dancers for most of the time that I have helped with Christmas decorating. Here's Rosemary, Nancy, Carla, Celia, Robbie, Cheryl. They made that beautiful garland, and they've done that for years and years and years. Nancy and Rosemary were both here this year making the Christmas. That's Andrea. She's one of our newer dancers, and man, is she ever wonderful. She has really jumped in to help with leadership. She made this beautiful wreath that hung on the fireplace in Davidson Hall. Here's Mike and Martha. Mike's a Morris roadie. He's been with us on a couple of England trips. This is a children's event during Christmas. There's Santa and a small person on Santa's lap. This was this year Murphy Christmas Parade. Getting ready for New Year's Eve, 2002. Warwick Folk Festival. This was our most recent trip to England. We took it in July. This is Kennywood Dance, and here's, I'm just going to keep going. This is Warwick Castle. We actually danced in front of a castle and paraded through the streets. I don't think that's hanging out. There we went to a shanty singing. And Kaylee sang at that, but I didn't put you in the slideshow. I wanted to. This is Sidmouth Folk Festival on the Sea, the other festival that we went to. Here is Cindy in a kind of workshop-y thing, learning a new dance with a new group of Morris dancers. This is live music. Sidmouth. There's just this wonderful guy, Brian Mitchell, who danced with Sticks in the Mud for many, many years. He's here tonight. We love him dearly. It's Dr. Mitchell. Important people. Here's Dakota Gotti, who's also very important. Danced since he was, 5 or 6 years old. He's moved away for the time being. Maybe we'll get him back someday. We miss him too. And I'm going to end this show, the slideshow, with this slide. If you want to know more, there is a film that was made about us by Josh Hamilton, who is an Alabama independent filmmaker, called While We Are Together. It's on YouTube. You can watch it. It fills in some of the story that I didn't tell tonight, but this is strictly about Brasstown Morris.
great jumps, oh my! Why, tonight you may very well see us leap into the sky. Still working on that sky curve. Throughout our twisting figures, you'll see our swords bend and contort, but to leave you without a smile, why, we'll have nothing of the sort. That's tonight, without a doubt. You've all come out for a big show to honor Brasstown Morris dancers! That we all love and know. So sit back, relax, and find a nice comfy spot. You enjoy watching all of us. Why, yes, the whole lot. So lads, if you're as good as my boasting, our users are report. The company's waiting to hosting to see how we handle our sword. 6,